right, so today we're going to work on volumes. All right, and our I can statement is I can define volume and understand that it is a characteristic of a solid figure. All right, we'll also work on another I can statement that we're working on is I can understand the volume of cubic units and how they can be used to measure volume. So what is volume? Volume is the amount of space that's taken up by a 3D object. So 2D is like a flat object, like a square, a triangle, a rectangle, a circle. Those are two-dimensional. 3D shapes are basically like cubes, cylinders. All right, so those are 3D shapes, three-dimensional. And so when we have a three-dimensional object like this one over here, like the cube, the volume is how much space, the amount of space that can be taken up, how much space we have on the inside of it. That's what volume is. All right, the amount of space that can be taken inside. How can we figure that out? So say, for instance, we have a cereal box and we're trying to figure out how much cereal can go in this box. We're trying to actually figure out what is the volume of this box. We're also going to work on how to measure volume. In order for us to figure out how much space, what the volume is in a three-dimensional object, we need to figure out the width, which is how wide the length, which is how long and the height, which is how high an object is. All right. So those are the three things we need. We need the length, how long it is, the width, how wide it is, and the height, how high it is. The volume is measured by 1 unit by 1 unit by another unit. So it's a particular unit, the width, times the length, times the height will tell you how much space is in that given container. All right, so we got length times width times height, how high. And that tells us what a volume is. All right, here again, we've got length. Look at the length over here, how long it is, times the width, how wide it is, times the height, how high it is. That tells us how much space is in the container. All right, so volume is the amount of space that a substance takes up or occupies in a 3D object, all right, or the amount of space that's enclosed in a container. The standard unit of measurement is 1 unit by 1 unit by 1 unit. So we measure the cube, the length is 1 unit, the width is 1 unit, and then the height is 1 unit as well. All right, length, how long, width, how wide, and height, how high. in order for us to be able to measure volume, all right, we want to multiply the length times the width times the height, and it gives you what the volume is. And a short way to write that would be L for length, L times W times H. The final result is usually 1 cubic units or whatever it is in cubic units. All right. So we measure that in cubic units. So right here, if I wanted to figure out what the volume is, all right, it would be, I've got my length here, I've got my width here, how wide it is, times how long it is, times how high it is. All right, L times W times H, volume. All right, again, remember that we're trying to identify or define what a volume is. All right, so now here is a box, and we're trying to figure out what the volume of this box is. All right, so I want you trying to guess how many cubic units, so this is my cubic unit, will fill up this box. All right, how many of these cubes do I need to fill up this box? What is my volume in cubic units? I want you to try to guess and write that number down. All right, so what you're doing right now is predicting. The direction says, what is the volume of the large box? Drag the small green boxes on the right to help you find the volume of the larger box. So here is my cubic unit. Now I want to find out how many cubic units it's going to take, and hopefully you wrote down a number. I'm going to start. We're trying to figure out the volume. Remember, the volume is the amount of space a container takes, or the amount of space in a container. So I've got 1. Notice how I'm stacking up gently. 2, 3. Right here, right now, this is 3 cubic units high. You see that? So I have 3 cubes going high. So my height is 3. And now I'm going to find out my width, which is how wide. I've got 1 box there, and I'm going to put this one right here. 2, 3. All right, so it is 3 cubic units wide. So it's 3 cubic units high. It's also 3 cubic units, wide. We can also count as we go. That's also helpful. So far, I have put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, so we have 9 boxes in here so far. And we know it's 3 cubic units high, 3 cubic units wide, and we need to figure out how many cubic units long. All right, got that there. Still going. Let's see how long this thing is. The space in the middle over here. There we go. So we're trying to figure out our volume. Hey, and it's also 3 cubic units long. So how many of these do we have so far? We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, stacking high. Just stacking them on top of each other. Okay, trying to figure out what is the volume of this container. Oh, we don't even have enough boxes. All right, well, let's go ahead and try to figure that out here. So what we can do, so our width, how wide it was, width was 3 cubic units. Our length was also 3 cubic units. And our height was also 3 cubic units. So for me to figure out the volume, I need to multiply my length up by my width by my height. That would be 3 times 3 times 3. All right. I'm going to start off with my first 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9. Times 3 will give me 27. So the volume of that container is 27 cubic units. All right, so us being able to understand or define what a volume is, the volume is how much space a container takes up, a 3D container. All right, so the amount of space within a 3D container, and just understanding that volume is measured in cubic units as well. All right, we're multiplying our width times our length times our height. And that right there, boys and girls, concludes our lesson for today.